Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Always glad to be here. Always glad to have you here. If you can hear me, type it in the room with VV Nation. Let me know you can hear me in the room. The big question today is the market ready for a market pullback? That's the big question for today. All right. Are we ready for a crash? And as I looked at the market, we're getting ready to look at that in a second. As I looked at the market today, I saw that the market looked like it gapped down, it stayed down. But now as we go live, the market's getting ready to rumble back up again. I'm waiting for more people to get into the room before I really get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on. Is the market ready for a crash or a pullback or a hard landing, however you want to call it? Are we looking at that right now? And the answer to that is I'm gonna put some insight behind that. I'm gonna put some insight behind that. You guys will still always make your own decisions. And I don't want anybody out there thinking that I'm trying to cause fear in the market. That is not the case at all. My job is to keep you guys better informed as to what's going on in the market. You guys will always make your own decisions. So sometimes I see the comments stating that I'm trying to cause fear. Let me ask this question. When you come to this channel, do you feel that you get useful information? Yes or no? All right. Yes or no? Because that's very, very, very important for us. We want to do the work for you so that you guys can reap the rewards. That's something that I say a lot. We do the work, you reap the rewards. I don't want to be like any other channel out there that's pushing any stock, pushing any agenda. I want to get that out. This is something that's been on my mind for a little bit. I try to make us different than every other channel that's out there, because you could spend your time looking at anybody else's channel. But I want you guys to come here for the reasons of we're different. I'm different. VectorVest is different. And with that, folks, and I see the yeses coming across the room, that's big for me. So when I make the statement of, is the market ready for a crash, I am not trying to scare the bejesus out of anybody. Before anybody wants to jump up and say that I'm trying to, that's not my goal. My goal is to take a realistic view of what's going on in the market so that you guys, as investors in the market, can make the best decisions for you. Look at this. Today, we got 247 people already. Let's get 300 people. I think that this is a very important topic as we look at earnings, as we look at the rising interest rates, as we still look at inflation being a problem. Is the market prime to go down either in a correction or in a crash? That's what we're going to talk about today. And folks, I'm going to put it out there. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you all what you need to hear so that you can make better decisions. All right. Now let me get off of my soapbox, because that's something that's been, I look at the comments in some of the videos that we do, and people think that I'm trying to do this or try to do that, or I have an ulterior motive. That's not what I'm all about. All right. That's not what I'm all about. Next, inflation data coming up bad. Seriously. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't try to guess at what's going on. I try to look at the news and discern where we could be going. Nothing that I say is etched in stone. Nothing that I say is saying that it's going to happen. I just look at what's going on and I try to help you guys make a decision. 262 people. Folks, we're close. This is the closest we've been in a while. Let's get 300 people in here. Let's get 300 people in the room. All right, so as we look at what's going on in the market, again, the idea is the market ready for a crash? What do I see in our color guard? A lot of yellow. What does yellow tell me? Yellow tells me we need to be cautious. All right, cautious doesn't mean panic, right? Cautious doesn't mean panic. It means to be cautious, slow down. If you're going to pick up any new positions, make sure the stock is going up before you do. Make sure that the market is going up before you pick a stock that's going up as well. I see that the primary wave is up. Let me go pull up so I can see it on my screen. I can see that the primary wave is up, that the underlying trend or the MTI is still below 1. The slowest, most conservative call we have, the confirmed call, is still in a confirmed down call. So with all of that being said, this is not panic mode. This is not the market's getting ready to crash mode. but it at least is telling you. And now the other cool thing about what we do is you can go back to any day in our system and see what we said about the market. A lot of people will say, well, here, we bought on this day in the market and we made umpteen thousand%. I'm not going to do that unless something warrants me to show what a watch list that I've created and done, what it's done, just so that you can see that. But for this particular point in time, I can go back in any date and time and see what the market says because we've got a footprint in the sand. Daniel says, you only talk of what the market shows you. There you go. Let me put that up there. You only talk about what the market shows you. And that's absolutely right, folks. Glenn, how about looking at Schwab? Mark, we'll see. Let me start a list. We'll see what stocks, if I get a chance, I should get a chance today. SCHW. We'll take a look at Schwab. Today's price just went green for about 2 seconds, but it's been yellow for most of the day. I'm staying cautious. Way to go, Corey. All right. And again, I'm not trying to create any fear or anything. All I'm trying to do is keep you guys better informed. All right. Let's move out of this. And I want to go take a look at what's going on in the market today. Intraday. Let me go change this. Intraday. This is the move, and I was looking at this pretty much all morning before we got here. Look at the move. The market just went above the gap down. We gapped down this morning. The market turned around and got above that gap. Look at that big pullback already. All right, looking at our day trading timing signal, look at that. We just got above the value of 1. I'm not going to get deep in detail with this. The only people that have access to our day trading timing signal are the people who own the Derby. All right. If you don't own the Derby, you don't get access to this. But this is part of what we do in our day trading room. I love the move up. But this tool tells you the rest of the story. The rest of the story told me that there wasn't a good up call in the market. There wasn't a good up call in the market during that time, and look at what the market's doing. The market's pulling back. How much is the Derby? Boston, are you here? Boston's probably not here. Tom, are you here? Or somebody who has the Derby, type it in the room. Somebody in how much is the Derby? Type it in the room. Somebody who does have the Derby. Before I give the wrong answer, I don't want to give the wrong answer. Somebody who's got the Derby, type it in the room. You may hit my 300. Sonny, you're right. I'm trying to get to 300. We got to 264. We got to 277. We bumped back down to 264. I still want to get 300 people in the room if we can. All right, 300 people in the room. I can't believe none of my Derby people are typing how much the Derby is. I think it's $99 a month. Do I do ETFs? Absolutely, Sean. And we're going to talk about some ETFs to take a look at as well. All right, we're going to take a look at some. Did you put an EPMD? That's EPD. I was about to say EPMD. I picked up ELF today. Just one of the stocks keep an eye on, says Corey. I'll have to keep my eye out on that. All right. So intraday, that's what we look like 3 months. And this is something that I've been talking about on all of my live streams, why I think the market has some downside. All right, why I think the market has some downside. Debbie says, I'm not ready for a crash. COVID took my sense of smell away, but I smell a crash coming using trailing stops. Debbie, I sort of like that analogy. And you know something? I'm going to give you a hand clap for that. I sort of like that analogy, Debbie. I really do. I sort of like that analogy. Do I do futures? No, we don't do futures or currency. We don't do futures or currency. So as I look at the 3-month graph, nice open candle today, not green yet, but nice open candle today. This is my level that I'm looking for to see if the market has more upside, and it's a level of $50 to $57.15, $57.15. We haven't been able to break through that. Debbie, if you like trailing stops, you'll love Profit Locker Pro. And in my real world, stocks, Roger, I use the Profit Locker Pro to get me out of stocks, out of my trading. All right, it'll send me an alert when a stock hits the stop, and then I go to my brokerage account to get rid of my stocks based on Profit Locker Pro. I'll do what's needed to save the markets. I'm coming. Oh, no, I'm not going down that road, Fernando. I'm not doing that, baby. Ooh, we don't do politics here. We don't do any politics here. I'm not trying to do that. All right. So as I look at what's going on in the market, I still think the market has some downside. And with that, let me get into some news. And I'm going to approach that story today about, is the market ready for a crash? I wonder what I need for this one. Do I need that or do I need that? I'll do that. All right. So we use something called FactSet data, right? Do we do option trading? CK, we can look at options, but I don't do options trading here. It's a lot to have to do. There's a tool that I have called the Options Pro, which I can sort of kind of show, but a lot of people don't have it, and I don't want to open up that can. I don't want to open up that can. So should I just hold my investments or start to sell? So bruh, what you need to do is tighten stops. Let your stops dictate what you do. Let your stops at this particular point in time, if we're in a level of caution, tighten your stops. What do I mean by that? Let's say I have a 21.7 stop. If the stock goes up 21%, it closes out. If it goes down 7%, it closes out. Maybe I change that to a 15.5. That means I get out of it faster and take my profits quicker, and I get out of it quicker to the downside to mitigate losses. Does that make sense, bruh moment? Does that make sense? So no, I'm not telling you to start to sell. All I'm telling you is to tighten your stops to mitigate your losses a little quicker and take your profits a little faster. John says, Glenn, one of your favorite stocks, DEC, is hitting another new high. There's a lot of stocks out there. Dan is saying Tesla orders dropping, inventory building, Tesla used car prices collapsing. The sixth cut this year. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been tweeting about the sixth cut this year, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm wondering, and I did a Tesla story on YouTube not too long ago. I think that Tesla's got some downside. I saw a couple of posts on those videos telling me that I'm not sure. They don't know that I'm sure of what I'm talking about because raw materials are going down in price, and that they can do this, and that they have, really perfected the manufacturing stuff and cut the cost there. But something, no matter what, if you're cutting costs on your product, that's got to affect the bottom line. You're not going to hit your margin. Unless you're telling me that your margin is way that high, which means you're robbing customers by a lot of money with the high price, and maybe now you're coming down to the reality of what the true price should be, which means that, maybe I don't want to do business with you if you're going to rape me on the cost of your good because that's my opinion. That's my opinion. All right. Does anybody agree with me on that? If Tesla is being able to cut again and still make margin, that means that the price that they were charging was way out of whack. Do you believe me on that? Do you agree with me on that? All right. And if that's the case, then I got a second guess. I mean, this is capitalism, and it's all about making money and supply and demand. But if you can cut 6 times, since January and tell me that you're still making margin, that means you are screwing us altogether on the price of the vehicle. I know, and Roop, it is a free market. It is definitely a free market. But if I can see that tells me a little bit something about what Tesla's doing. All right. Now, Mike says they could be operating more efficiently. I'll take that. They could. Does that give them the opportunity to still make 6 cuts? 6. Not 1, not 2, 6. 6 cuts. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. Maybe Tesla has increased its capacity and has got its costs lowered. John is saying the same thing that, who just said that? Capitalism. Somebody just said, yes, Teslas are overpriced. More competition coming to the Tesla markets. It's all about the money. Ain't a damn thing fun. He says, Ernest, I'm gonna have to laugh at that. Hold on. Where's my laugh button? I hear you. All right. So with all of that being said, let's take a look at this story. This comes from FactSet. We use this in regards to what's going on in the market. I want to pay attention to something. Earnings decline. All right, earnings decline. The blended earnings decline for the S&P 500 is negative 6.5%. That's not good. So when I talk about is the market crashing, one of the biggest movers of the market is earnings. There's only 3 things that move markets globally: earnings, interest, and inflation. If earnings on the S&P 500 is falling by 6.5%, one of the things that I've said since the tail end of last year was that earnings was going to play a big role in the market. As companies start to lose in their earnings or miss on their earnings, that was going to start to push the market lower because they weren't meeting the bottom line. Well, why is that happening? Rising interest rates. Rising interest rates, it's a lag, but it's catching up. And that's not good for the market. It's not good for the economy. And I think that we've got a lot more downside coming. Earnings revisions, 6.7% to the downside. 3 sectors are reporting higher earnings today compared to March 31st. Earnings guidance. Let's see, 80 of the S&P 500 companies have issued negative earnings guidance. 80. 27 of them have issued positive earnings per share guidance. So as I mentioned, this is not about scaring anybody. This is the data. This is the data, folks, and this is from FactSet. It's looking at what's going on with the S&P 500. I'm not telling you, this is not Glenn's insight. Well, I think the market. That's the data. You're looking at it. Companies are revising lower. Companies, even on the revised lower guidance, are still missing earnings. It's going to increase. And as that happens, again, the market is ready. It's poised for a downturn. Now, is it a downturn? Is it a crash? Is it a correction? Whatever it is, based upon what I see, the market is ready to move down. Jeff says, Glenn, you can have real time without the Derby for $137 a month. Don't have Derby. Derby costs an additional $99 on top of the real time. Just confirmed with the sales team. Thank you, Jeff, because the people who are asking about how much it was, I'm glad. Thank you right now. Lonnie says, Tesla overcharges greatly. I will never buy another one. So Lonnie's evidently got one. But I think that these cost cuts are showing the true colors behind Tesla. Again, I'm not beating them up. I'm just reporting 6 cuts since January. 6. And if they sit there and they still tell you that they're beating and meeting earnings, that's some stuff right there. That is some stuff right there. All right, most forecasts are incapable of including market psychology, which can't be quantified. I ain't trying to quantify. Listen, I'm not talking about psychology. I'm just talking about what's what. I'm just talking about what's what. Banks had their biggest reduction in treasury holdings on record. That's a good thing, yes? Taking money off the books? Or are they losing on them and that's why they reduced? Are they losing on them and that's why they reduced? Tesla is not just a car company. Elon is a beast and they're going to beat earnings. Ayad, listen, you're right. They're not just a car company, but the majority of the profits come from cars. Whereas when I look at Apple, they're not just a phone or a computer company. They're a lot more. I'm on board with that. But when I look at Tesla, what made Tesla Tesla? The car. Even though they've branched out to other things, Ayad, that's where the crux of the business comes from. That's where the crux of the business comes from. So Tesla has the same auditors as SVB Bank. Ooh, Sigma guy. Glenn, can you explain the graph on that page? Yes. The graph on the page, the blue line shows the price of the S&P 500. The black line shows the forward 12-month earnings per share. And look at that convergence between the two. We're still above the forward 12-month, but for a time here, we were below that. And that was back in I can't read what that's 2019. Oh, that makes sense. This was during COVID time. And after that, after quantitative easing and we put money into the economy, thank you, and we put money into the economy, look at that, boom, we ran. Now that we're, raising interest rates, the actual S&P earnings are falling and is meeting right up with the 12-month. Does that make sense, Corey? So this gives me more insight as to the state of earnings. Corey, that's what this is telling me. It's giving me more. And what I'm telling you is that earnings are falling. It's telling me that earnings are falling. All right. Michael says convergence of 2 lines is irrelevant, just the trends. I'm telling you, Michael, from this perspective, this gives me more insight, Michael, on the state of earnings. And overall, they're starting to fall. That's not good for the economy, not good for the market. Let's go to Janet Yellen. Says the banking meltdown could actually do the Fed's work for it, lower inflation without sparking a recession. What did I tell you not too long ago? That the Fed is already setting up to point the finger at the regional banks to say that they caused the recession. This is more to that. All right. I still think that the banking situation is not over. By all means, I don't think that it's over yet. I think there's another shoe to fall. I was talking to my good friend Todd Schaefer, and we were talking about the banks, from a monetary perspective, as a business perspective, the short-term stuff and investing in the long-term stuff. And the short-term stuff and the long-term stuff all came together, and this is what's going to affect the banks adversely. The long-term investments are not outweighing the short-term risks, and that's what's going to happen with the banks. Morgan Stanley missed today. All right, JP hit last week, but Morgan Stanley missed today. Let's go take a look. Morgan Stanley shares fell after reporting rising expenses. That has to do with interest rates and declining revenue. You know, normally when interest rates rise, the beneficiaries tend to be the banks. Glenn, how much credence do you put into technical analysis in your decisions? I depends on the situation. On a long term, not much. If I'm trying to look and I'm in a good uptrend, I want to look at the fundamentals, what's really moving. But when I get into choppy waters, I want to look at the technical analysis because I want to see what's moving in the current market's conditions. All right, so it all depends on the situation. Can you click on the DB method video? Looks interesting. No, I'm not going to play a video while I'm doing a video, while I'm doing a live stream. Sigh. Yeah. Hold on. I got to laugh. Glenn, are you still doing the daily morning derby? I do it on Fridays. That's the only day that I do it. All right. I do it on Fridays. Someone I know got a Chevy Bolt for a company car. It loses a fair amount of charge sitting idle overnight. That's why you're supposed to charge it overnight. Sigh. Bank stocks are undervalued, but still have not risen from what I've seen in VectorVest. They haven't risen because they're undervalued. Are they making money? Corey, so it's not that they're just undervalued. Are they making money? And as more banks report, we're going to get a better feel of that. Are they making money? Who else missed today? Netflix delays password sharing crackdown rollout posts mixed results. They didn't fall on viewership, on subscribers. They just fell on revenue. So they're making money, but it's not what they anticipated that they would make. They missed on revenue. Talking about, is the market ready for a pullback? More layoffs. Meta has started its latest rounds of layoffs focusing on technical employees. That's another sign that it's not good for the market. Buyers are willing to pay for Tesla. Well, you know why? Because I think, don't get me wrong, Peter. I think Tesla is a fundamentally sound stock. It is a fundamentally sound stock. But as they continue to cut back in price, if they're already having, they're not moving. If you look at the graph, the Tesla's moving sideways. What they're trying to do is jumpstart the people to buy more cars. And by doing that, they sell more, hopefully it goes up in value. But if you keep cutting, you're biting into the value, biting into the margin on the car, right? So Meta laying off, problem. Here's Tesla, all right? Tesla cuts again ahead of a Q1 earnings report. And then right behind this, here's another story. This comes from Barron's. Tesla earnings are likely to drop. A price war has consequences. Again, this is coming from the news. Barron's is a reputable source. All right. Electric vehicle Tesla is expected to report lower earnings on higher sales. Higher sales because they've dropped the price. Wednesday evening after the electric vehicle maker slashes prices again to draw in buyers. So the sales will increase, but where is the margin built in for them to make money? Glenn, if you show Tesla on the VectorVest chart with its EPS, you can see they are a credible company. You are correct, Glenn, and Joey didn't pay me to say that. I hear you. Overall, I think that Tesla is a good company. But I think that with the slashing of the prices, they could be biting themselves, or it could be bad. All right, Wall Street is looking for a per share earnings of about 85 cents. They reported $1.07. Glenn, if you show, I know Joey put that up there that you didn't pay him. Tesla reported $1.07 share for 18.8 billion in sales. That's a lot of sales. A year ago, it was 18 billion. Tesla cut significantly for its vehicles in January, and lower prices pressure profitability. All right, so for all of you who are saying that, maybe they've streamlined, maybe they've done that, they still have pressure on profitability. The EV maker cuts prices, some of its values again, I think that it hurts them. I think that it hurts them. The market's going higher, not straight up, but we'll go to 4,600 to 6,000. That will be followed by a 30 to 40% global bust due to 300 trillion debt crisis and back down via mean reversion. I think the market's got some downside. What you just said, JR, I hear you. I ain't putting it into that kind of layman's terms. I think the market's got some downside. I think the market's definitely got some downside. All right. Let's go to my next story. As EV costs tumble, how about a company, Boyd, BYD? I couldn't find it in the database. I'm wondering if they're publicly traded. They're getting ready to solve it for the world. China's largest EV maker unveiled this week the Seagull at a show. Shocking analysis. It's got a range of more than 300 miles, 186 miles. That's not a lot. Starting price, though, just over $11,000. Holy smokes. An EV, would you buy it? Yes or no? Would you buy it? Yes or no? I love the price on a EV, but 186 miles just ain't enough. Talking about dropping the price on a car, talking about a price war, $11,000 for an EV. I don't even think Tesla can get down to that. I don't think Tesla can get down to that. Just for city use, probably. Yeah, I'd buy the diesel version. Mike, we ain't talking about diesel. This is EV, baby. This is EV. This ain't got nothing to do with diesel. $11,000. People I speak to lately in England are driving less, especially younger gems who can't afford an EV. Car sharing feels timely, especially with work from home. So, that's affecting oil. The working from home is affecting oil adversely because a lot less people are on the road. So the demand is not there. We're going to talk about oil in a second. All right. But $11,000 for an EV. It's kind of interesting, but it's only got 186 miles. I'm not feeling that. Must test cut prices in the U.S. for the sixth time. Tesla's price cuts have prompted other automakers, including in China, to follow suit. This Boyd putting out this Seagull, I'm going to keep that on my radar. 11,000 will get you a pedal type. I hear you, Kevin. All right. Gold. Who's playing gold? Gold taps lows under 2,000 as strong U.S. dollar weighs on precious metals. One of the things that I've been talking about in regards to gold is the dollar. As long as the dollar is strong, gold is going to be under some selling. I got rid of my SGOL. All right, I got out of my SGOL. It hit my stop. When I thought it was ready to move, when I thought gold was ready to move, the strength of the dollar is keeping it from running. And the same thing, I had my oil play. I got out of my oil play. Oil trading. Oil falls despite large crude inventory decrease, which means that the price of oil should go up. But other people are flooding the market with oil. Who primarily is Russia. Those BRICS countries or people who are tired of the sanctions that we're putting on them are going to buy the oil from Russia at cheap, dirt cheap. So the oil space is getting flooded with oil, and we can't do nothing about it right now. We can't, we've already bought from the strategic reserves. We can't buy no more to flood the market with oil either. So right now, oil is I'm not ready for oil anymore. I did a video about how oil should explode, and that didn't come into fruition. There's a lot of macro political stuff that's going on that's keeping oil under wraps. So I'm not in oil right now, and I'm not in gold right now. Not yet. I got to time those. I'm not ready for either one of those. Now, something to get ready for on oil is the summertime. When we start traveling again, the demand, people will be driving. I think short-term oil may have a run then. But right now, I think that a lot of people are going to buy the cheap Russian oil. And they're saying, forget you, America. We don't need your little stinky, janky oil. How many of you know what janky means? Type of one in the room. How many of y'all know what janky means? I mean, that's what everybody's saying. Everybody's saying, we don't need your little stinky, janky oil. All right, we're at a key inflection point for the gold industry due to the overwhelming pressure to adopt the green revolution. There has been a declining interest from miners in deploying capital. Listen. What all of that to say, Dan, the dollar's strong. So gold is going down. That's all you need to know. Strong dollar, not good for gold. All right, not good for gold. All right, Michael, thank you for all of the stuff that you're putting out there. I'm going to try to get some of it. All right, those are all the stories that I have in regards to, is the market looking for a retracement, a correction, a crash? This still level of, for me, let me go change this. This level for me of 57.15 on the VectorVest composite is very important. Very, very, very important. I've been buying the building industry, and it seems to be working. I've been looking. I was looking at BYD is gaming in the database, so I'm thinking that we don't have that stock. I don't know if I got to see if we got to get that, Rick. We don't have that BYD. That's like PYT, pretty young thing. Got a saying on the side of Michael's house. Gonna saying on the side of Michael's house. Gonna saying on the side of Michael's house. Gonna saying on the side of Michael's house. That's not the real words, but that's what it sounds like to me. BYD, it doesn't look like we track that. And I don't know if they are a publicly traded company, Rick. They might be private. I don't know. All right. Let's go to my viewers. Let's go look at what's going on with the market indices. A little bit of, look at that. Now we got to a mixed market. The biggest mover right now is the Russell 2000, up 0.4%. Look at that. The VIX is below 20 and moving down even more. There's a lot less fear in the market. I think people are getting a bit more greedy. That's why the IWM is moving today, the Russell 2000. People are getting into the riskier stocks. All right. But when I go back to that graph, folks, I'm just telling you guys to be careful. If we can't break above that level of 57.15, I don't think the market has legs to the upside. I don't think so. But if it breaks through, I'll change my tone. All right, I'll change my tone. But I'm looking at right now, if we can't get past that level, we got more downside. Let's go to the big news stories. GT, ever see the VIX in single digits? JR, I have not. Not that I can remember. When that happens, the market should be full bore, go, go, go. Because there's a lot less fear in the market at the time. You're looking at Cisco long term. Ooh, CSCQ. I think that's what it is. I think it's like that. It's BYDDY. I looked at that, Paul, but I didn't. BYDDY. Is that what it is? Because when I looked at that, Paul, when I looked at what that stock looked at. Let's scroll that over. Electronic miscellaneous products. Can you confirm that? Who put that? Paul, can you confirm that that's them? Because if that's them, that's fine. I like that it's undervalued, fundamentally sound, and moving up. And that news could really put some more momentum behind that stock. Paul, just confirm that for me. If that is the same Boyd, that is the Chinese automaker. Somebody back that up for me. See, what is Cisco? I got to find out what Cisco is. CSCO, I'll find it. Paul is correct. All right, so if that's the case, out of the stocks that made the news stories, it's got the top VST. That based on the news, $11,000 car, 186 miles could be enough to push this stock higher. Beyond Tesla. Tesla's way overvalued. The perception is that people want to buy into the stock, pushing the stock's price higher. They're buying at a premium. Meta laying off people down. Oil under some selling pressure down. Gold under some selling pressure down. Morgan Stanley missed, but up today. And the stock is overvalued. Netflix missed on revenue, but look at big hit to the downside. All right, so these are the stories. These are the stories that made the news. I wanted to see what they look like in the list. History is the market bottoms in the middle of a recession. If recession is 2023, high probability it will be then that this market may stay afloat until mid to late May, and then the decline begins. Interesting. Thank you for that, Blair. All right. All I'm telling you is I need y'all guys. How far are we from May? I need you guys to just be prepared. That's all. Again, not trying to scare nobody. I'm just trying to tell you, just be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. China's largest homegrown EV maker and Tesla's major, probably a competitor. All right. So I'm going to tell you to keep your eyes on it. That's good news. They're going to sell a ton of cars. Based on that, Boyd will sell a ton of cars. That low price, man, this is China's Tesla, right? That's China's Tesla. All right. Copper fundamentals online for a big breakout in copper. Supply, multi-year lows. Cupboard is bare. I did a video on that based on what you said about the shortage on copper. And guess what, Dan? Nobody cared. I looked at nobody really cared. It was like, I thought it was a good story though. What's BYDDF? That was the story that I just talked about here. Which was it? Boyd. As EV cost tumbles and export waves, this company right here. Companies like BYD are solving the problem in China and getting ready to solve it for the world. There you go, Ernest. You got it? So that's the stock that was in the story. All right. I'm a fan that if the market's going to look like it's got more downside, keep your eyes on contras. I think I've got 10 contras for you to keep your eyes on. I got about 10 contras for you to keep your eyes on. Let's go sort these. What's moving today? Sox and Yang, two big movers today. To the downside, though, LABD, the bank contra is not moving today. SRTY, which is looking at the Russell on the S&P. There we go. Glenn, does VectorVest have the capability to tell the stocks that Michael Burry, Nancy Pelosi, Buffett own? No, they don't. Nope. You want to go see? I'm going to show you something. You want to see what stocks they own? I'll show you how to find out. Watch this. What stocks does Pelosi own? Well, that's the only way I would find out. 8 top Nancy Pelosi stocks to buy. I wasn't anticipating that. I wasn't anticipating that. But I just Googled it. I figured that I would Google it. You wanted to know, did anybody know? Look at this. Did y'all know that you could do this? I'm sure you did, but how many of y'all knew what stocks Nancy Pelosi was holding? And does it matter to you? I'm with you, Corey. I think that's freaking funny. I'm thinking that is funny. Someone asked the question, and but look at the hits. 55%, 30 to the negative. Who's helping her pick these stocks? Do you want to buy the stocks that she's buying? Holy smokes. That's horrible. Look, that's horrible. Who wants that? I wouldn't want to buy the stocks. I wouldn't want to buy her stocks if that's the case. Corey is right. Look at that, folks. Nancy needs VectorVest. Everybody see that? Look up on your screen. Everybody see that? Nancy needs VectorVest. Those picks are horrible. So you wanted to know. I hadn't known. How did she make $104 million in taking office? I think it was more than her stock picking. I think it was more than her stock. You don't know when Nancy bought them. So look, it says share price change since 2022 purchase. That's what it says. I don't know if since that's what it says, Michael. All right, is she dollar cost averaging? It's the worst thing to do. She's dollar cost. That's horrible. Who does that? All right. All I'm saying is I'm not picking her stocks. I'm not picking her stocks. I'm not doing it. All right, so Contras, How much time I got? Let's do this real quick. Let's look at some of your stocks. I'm on one today, man. I got Schwab, Assure, EPMD, Eric and Paul making dollars, ELK. Yeah! ELK is not a ticker symbol I track. Who gave me ELK? DAKT, Cisco, CSCO. Yep. I got Assure, LVS, Hershey. It's ELF. Is it ELF? Not ELK. Is that what it was? ACLS. There you go. On a semiconductor. Didn't I just do something on semiconductors? didn't I just do something on semiconductors? No. All right. ACGL, PA, that's silver. And I think ACLS is already in here. ACLS is already in here, John. All right. DE, John Deere. Michael, you got puts. You got puts on. All right. Oh, look at Costco. COST. Can you repeat everything I just got here? Yes. Welcome to VectorVest, everybody. Hi, my name is Glenn Tompkins. No, Mark. I love you to death, but no. Wow. At least Pelosi beat Jim Cramer returns. Just saying, says JR. Listen, I think everybody can beat what? No, Pelosi beat Cramer returns? I'm not talking about that guy. I'm not trying to get canceled. I'm not trying to say anything. Hit enter. I'm not trying to get canceled. All right, let's go put in Novo. That's 15. That's a good enough stocks. Oh, you said I don't have Novo. Cramer is bullish gold. Yeah, I just told you why I wasn't bullish gold. All right, SJIM. I don't track that. CRWD. All right, there's my 15 stocks. Sigh! CRWD. All right. There's my stocks. Da, 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 da. All right, out of here. Arch Capital at the top of the list with a VST of 1.38. Silver. Again, silver and gold. So that's a good old spiritual right there. That's a church spiritual, silver and gold. Look at that. I'm not ready for gold. And silver has been on a run for a little bit. I don't know if the run is over. Even with the run, it's got a VST of 0.90. SMCI, that's another chip. SMCI. I'm still on the chip space. I swore I did something. It must have been on Monday's live stream. I still think that the chip space is a good space, but it's a tough space to be in. And SMCI is still one of the best stocks in our database. Let's go take a look at that real quick. I want to take a look at that, and I'm going to where's my other one? Those are my two semiconductors, right? Let's go view that real quick. So as I look at those, put these on a 3-month graph. Let's go to, here's my layout. Let's go swing. Looking at a 20-day exponential moving average. Undervalued. I love that. On a 3-month graph, the bottom left, top right, above the 20-day. If you're in it right now, leave it alone until it goes end of day below the 20-day. I've got 2 levels of support sitting on it. But you know what I don't like too? I don't like the falling earnings. I don't like the silver. Everyone wishes for silver and gold. Sing it, Glenn. Burlaz. I'm not singing it. I'm not singing today. I do like the trade on SMCI. I like the space. So look at on, not as much. If I'm going to look at a chip stock, I want to look at the stocks in the chip space that have the best upside. On does not have it. I love the earnings per share, but the stocks can't get out. This stock can't get out of its own way. I think it was NVIDIA. Oh, yeah. What did I do? I did a video on NVIDIA, but I looked at other chip stocks. That's what it was, Joey. I did a video on NVIDIA and I looked at the other chip stocks. NVIDIA, I think, is the stock that's carrying the space, but I think it's overbought. Thank you for that, Albert. That's exactly what it was my NVIDIA recent video. NVIDIA has been a workhorse. It's been rocking and rolling, but a lot of the stocks in this space are in the levels of being overbought. How important is the green value line in VV? How do you use it? The green value line. Oh, because we want you guys to be in undervalued stocks. So when I look at a graph, I want to see if the stock is over or undervalued. Now, that doesn't tell me if the stock is overbought or oversold. Undervalued is a good thing because over time, stock's price will tend to rise up to meet value. So I want to look at whether it's under or overvalued. These chip stocks are still undervalued stocks. That's a good thing. But I would cherry pick which ones I would use. JR says, Glenn, do you use the SMA or EMA in your 3 and A? I use exponential moving averages. This is a 20-day, but it's a 20-day exponential moving average as well. All right, let's go look at all your other stocks. Arch Capital, I'm going to highlight all these other stocks. Which one of these you liked for short? Was John Deere? Let me go look at that. You wanted Deere for short, right? You wanted the Deere for short. Let's go put it on a 3-month graph. Oh, I'm not sure I want to short it yet. It's got to break through this level of support. Let's go put it on a 6-month graph. There's my 6-month low, sitting at about something. You know something, 363.06. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to short it yet. I don't know if I'm ready to buy puts. But I will tell you this. There's the downtrend on it. There's definitely a downtrend on it. There's definitely, whoever put up the deal wanted to look at puts. It's definitely a downtrend on it. So how about this? If you're going to play the puts on it, it's got to stay below that trend line. Who put up the John Deere? Type of me in the room. Who put up the John Deere? Who put up the John Deere? And if you're looking at it from a put perspective, earnings looks good. Earnings looks good. Would you short? Yeah, there you go, Corey. Would I short DE with rising earnings? The only way I would, Corey, is if it stayed below this trend line, even with rising earnings. Kind of interesting because the earnings have been rising and the stock has been below that trend line. So, Corey, technically, if it stays below that trend line, this is one of the few times I would short a stock with rising earnings. Does that make sense, Corey? That's probably one of the only times I would short a stock with rising earnings is if I can see a defined downtrend and it stays there. Kramer promotes NVIDIA every time he's on CNBC. I'm thinking that NVIDIA is a gangbuster stock. I just think right now it's at a level of being overbought. I'm thinking that it's at a level of being overbought. All right, that's all I got to say. Can you analyze? Paris, I'm going to analyze these stocks. I got 15, 16 stocks to look at. All right, Paris, that's what I'm going to say about that. I love you to death, though. All right, let's go look at all of these other graphs real quick before we go. View the stock graph. Let's pump it up. Let's pump up the jam. Pump it up while the beat is jumping. Ooh, look at that. ACGL, I like that. I like that. Nicely undervalued, riding that level of the 20-day exponential moving average in earnings per share. I like that stock. I do like that stock. So it was you, Michael, with the DE put. I'd be careful with that, but as long as it stays below that trend line, I'd be okay with buying puts on it. NVIDIA is 70% of the AI market so far. You know what's interesting about NVIDIA? When I look at a stock like TSMC, Taiwan Semi, NVIDIA, and all of these other chip companies do business with TMC. TMC is the big tech side of this as far as getting the chips. But NVIDIA, 70% of the AI space so far. Do you know in the video I talked about NVIDIA year to date is up 88%? 88%. That's a lot of dough. All right. So ACGL, I do like. ELF, I do like, but it's way overvalued. Stock is moving bottom left, top right, rising earnings per share, but it's way overvalued. I'd be careful with that, but I can't fight the tape. It's a good looking graph. ACLS, a little bit more choppy, a little bit more volatile, in a little bit of a channel. Rising earnings with really and undervalued. I'd like to see it break above that level of 138.21, break out of that channel. Next one is Assure. Falling earnings, rising price could be a bearish divergence. Could be a bearish divergence. Be careful with that. EPD, not EPM. I know, Carrie. I got EPD. It's coming up. OWN, we looked at. It's in a channel. If I'm going to look at a chip, I would be looking at NVIDIA. What was the other one I looked at? SMCI. There's probably better chips than ON that are in there. All right. DAQT. Ooh, another bearish divergence. Rising price, falling earnings. All right, rising price, falling earnings. Look at what price is right now coming to that level of the 20-day exponential moving average. Let's go see if it breaks below that. Be careful with that. If you own it, though, leave it alone unless it breaks below that 20-day. Hershey, way overvalued. Bottom left, top right, rising earnings. I'd be careful with that because it is overvalued, but it's still above the 20-day. If you own it, leave it alone until it comes below it on an end of day. EPMD. Oh, this is EPM. I like the pop in dividends, which should give more people more appetite to want to jump on board. Look at the price, though. Converging, broke through a level of support, breaking through another level of support, and coming down to the 20-day exponential moving average. A lot of bearish volume picking up on it as well. Be careful with that. Let's go to John Deere. We were talking about the shorting a stock with rising earnings and a pop in dividend. Gives people more of an insight to want to go into it. But as long as it stays below that trend line, you could probably short it. I'd still be careful. Schwab earnings falling. Pop in dividend, fall in earnings. I do like the run up coming off of support, coming up above the 20-day exponential moving average and undervalued. But if they're not making money, be careful with that, right? Was that an earnings play? Yep, there's the earnings. Earnings was 2 days ago. Even after that, it's starting to rise, though. All right, let's go to the next one. Costco, way overvalued in a tight channel. It can't get above that level of 498.91. Look at that right there. It's got to get out of its own way. Hi, John. Glenn, can you explain the lines on the graph, please? Yes, these are support and resistance. Here's my value, and I'm looking at earnings per share, and I'm looking at dividends down here. Perfume aroma, we already looked at SMCI. We did not look at Taiwan Semi today, but we did look at TSM already. We already did. We already looked. Did we not look? No, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I don't know if I will look at it. Let's go get through these stocks first. CrowdStrike, bottom left, top right, watch earnings. Ooh, end of day, and if it falls below the 20-day exponential moving average end of day, I'd probably leave it alone. Wow. Cisco. Love the earnings, love the pop in dividends. I don't know what's going on with it right now, but I don't like it right now. I don't like it. Kramer has to start pumping Costco again and get the stock moving up. Shares of NVIDIA jumped today, which was attributed to an analyst upgrade. Yeah, I just showed you in that NVIDIA video, they had one sell recommendation. They got rid of that. So everybody, all of the big money behind NVIDIA are now with a buy recommendation. So I did show that. Ashish, if you look at the video I just did on NVIDIA, I talked a little bit about that. Is mRNA a good one to short? Actually, they had a deal with Pfizer or somebody, with Merck, on a drug. I don't know. I don't know if I would short mRNA just right now. Las Vegas Sands earnings, nice move, but still in a channel. Even though earnings look like it was okay today, I got to get it to get out of this channel. Love the earnings per share. I got to give above these levels of $60.23. All right. And the last stock on the list is silver. Silver's taking a little hit right now. It was running, but now on an end of day basis, it fell below the 20-day. I'd be careful with it. All right. NVIDIA. All right. I'm got to be done. Man, we talked a lot today. All right. How many likes did we get today, Joey? Where are we at? I'm not ready. Stop pushing that up. No, not yet. Stop doing that. Stop. No, don't do that. No. Did you just really stop? No. Sigh. Stop doing that. We got 63 likes. All right, let's go see if we get up to 100 likes. If it was worth it for you to stop by today, hit the like button. All right, hit the like button. All right. My job is to give you good information and have a little fun. All right, my job is to give you good information and have a lot of fun. See you tomorrow, Glenn. Stay away from Brian. He sounds really sick. You talk about D'Amico? He's not even in the office. He's probably at home. Glenn, please don't forget to have Joey send Nancy a free trial. You hear that, Joey? You hear that? He might have walked away. All right, so with that, I got to go. Thank you guys for being here, supporting the channel, and listening to me. Today I had to talk about a lot of stuff. I had to get some stuff off my chest. So with that, I got to go. Adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Bom dia. Salam, shalom, namaste, yasu. Until next time, folks, see ya!